Good afternoon, and thank you for attending our Using CEG Power BI Dashboards webinar today. The session will be run by myself. My name is Pritt. I'm a primary care facilitator for Waltham Forest, and with me I have my colleagues Rumana and Fahmida Akhtar, who both work in the data team that compile our dashboards. We also have some CEG colleagues attending with us today, and that includes our CEG manager, Keith Prescott. So at CEG, we're beginning to move away from the Excel platform to a Power BI platform, and users raised questions on how to manage and manipulate data. So we thought it might be helpful to have a brief session to address this. The presentation slides and any frequently asked questions will be sent to attendees after the session, as well as a feedback form. Please do complete this and return it to us, as your feedback will help inform future sessions. At the end, there will be time for questions and answers, but you can also add any questions you may have to the chat as we go along, as this will be monitored. Please could I stress that this is a generic overview of Power BI dashboards, so we will not be responding to specific queries on practice achievement. If you have any queries of this nature, please contact your local CEG facilitator. We'll share details of who they will be by borough at the end of the webinar. There'll be a slide on this. Okay, so the agenda for today looks like this. We're going to be covering what dashboards are. For those of you who aren't familiar with them, we'll just give you a brief outline of what they are and their intended purpose. Why Power BI? Then we'll have a session, a live demo actually, of Power BI dashboards. Just during the live demonstration, we will show you how to copy data from Power BI into Excel, but please note that this is not the primary purpose of using Power BI. We're not trying to replicate data so that it can be copied into Excel. But if you choose to or need to, you may require just some further manipulation depending on how you want the outlook to be presented. So that's the Q&A session. So the dashboards we're going to cover today are the PCN days, which includes the IIF indicators, NHSC severe mental illness, the care homes dashboard, and cancer screening dashboards. We do also have a learning disabilities dashboard, but it's very similar, and we don't need to just repeat everything. So, generally speaking, dashboards are an information management tool designed to visually track and present key performance indicators and metrics. At CEG, we collect data from practice clinical systems and present it for all locality services in dashboards for monitoring or payment purposes. That includes both EMIS and System 1. Information is shared across the NEL ICB, but may also be shared wider by users. For example, if they want to compare progress across different ICBs. Just to let you know, the dashboards do drill down into practice data, but this data is aggregated. So during the live demonstration, we will be showing you how to drill down to obtain practice level data, but please be assured that this is only to demonstrate the feature. The next slide, just to show you, this is what a Power BI dashboard looks like. Just to let you know that you cannot navigate to the dashboards from our main CEG website. So again, if you do need these details, contact your local facilitator and we can give you the link as well as the login details. And we do recommend that you bookmark this so that you got easier access in future. And as I said, I've also included a slide at the end of the presentation that will give details of all your borough facilitators and their contact details. There's also a QR code, so if you have your mobile phones handy, you could get the link directly from there. So why Microsoft Power BI? There were some reported problems. Users of Excel dashboards were experiencing issues with macro settings as updates to the Office products were installed. There were some very complicated formulas that were sitting behind the data, which sometimes made it difficult to copy to another source. And generally, the industry standard is moving away from Excel dashboards. So why Microsoft Power BI? Power BI is a more intuitive platform. It's a superior visualization tool. It's a lot quicker to compile, and it's easier to link to as dashboards are web-based and do not need to be downloaded. So this is an example of an LTC template, and if you see down the side where the pages are, we have included a CEG dashboards page, and you can see here there's direct links to these specific dashboards. So information is shared across the NEL ICB, including your networks and public health. Information may also be shared across the ICBs nationally, and we recognise that there is a risk of misinterpretation of the data. So what we've started to do is introduce boilerplates like this to our dashboard so that the user is aware of the source of data, the purpose for which it is intended, and also the audience it's targeting. Okay, so that's our introduction. What I'll do now is I'll pass you over to my colleagues, my colleague Rumana, who will co-present with Fahmida, and this will be a live demo of the CEG Power BI dashboards. Thank you.
Okay, so hi everyone. We're going to go through a few Power BI dashboards now. So the first one is the IIF one, which is one of our older dashboards. So visually looks slightly different from the newer, more standardized ones. It's essentially divided into 3 sections. So you've got your overview, prevention and tackling health inequalities, and providing high quality care. And you can go to the specific section, the specific pages, just by clicking on these navigation pages at the top here. So, oh, sorry, hold on one moment. There's some people waiting in the lobby. I'll just let them in, okay. So these now Power BI dashboards show data from across all 7 boroughs. So it's quite a lot of data, but you can specify what you want to look at in more detail by using these filters along the left-hand side. And it's the same for each of the 3 pages. They all have these filters on the left-hand side. So you can specify what date you want to see. The Power BI dashboards will always be set to the latest date, which is this month, the 1st of February. But if you want to look at data from a previous month, so for example, say December, you can click on this date filter and just choose the month that you want. You can also further isolate what data you want to see by borough, PCN, and practice. So, for example, say you want to select a specific borough. You click on the borough filter, and then you click on Select All. That will deselect everything. And then you can click on the specific borough that you want. You can also choose multiple boroughs by clicking on the first one that you want. So for example, Barking. And then if you press down on the Control key on your keyboard, you can choose other boroughs as well. And that will select multiple boroughs. We will be sending out a handout with instructions for all these functions after the webinar. So these instructions will be given to you as well. And you can do the same for PCN. And also practice. And with these filters, there's also a little search bar at the top. So if there's too many practices to scroll through to find the specific one you want, you can just start typing in the practice that you want, and it'll automatically come up. And then you can choose that, and then the dashboard will automatically pop up with that data. Now, it's also important to note that the borough, PCN, and practice filters are all connected. So if you choose a particular borough, only the PCNs for those boroughs will be selected, and the same with the practice as well. If you want to clear any of the filters, you can do that by 2 ways. If it's just one filter you want to clear, you can simply just hover your mouse over the filter and a little eraser sign will pop up and it says clear selections. And if you click on that, it'll clear that filter. If you want to clear all the filters and reset it to the beginning, you can just click on this clear filters button at the bottom and that'll reset everything. Okay, I'm just going to let a few more people in who are in the lobby. So, okay. So the other two pages, the prevention and tackling health inequalities and the providing high quality care, are pretty much the same. You've got some KPI bars at the top and some visuals at the bottom that displays the data. We've got a donut chart, a borough comparison chart, which shows the performance of all the boroughs, so you can compare, and also a timeline performance, so you can see the performance over time, over the different months. And like the overview page, there's filters on the side, so you can choose specific boroughs or PCNs or practices, and that'll automatically, automatically populate with the data. And it's also important to note that in the prevention and tackling health inequalities page, there is a blue bar here in the middle. And if you click on it, there's multiple KPIs here. So if you click on a specific KPI, that'll automatically populate the visuals here. Now, these data tables can't be edited, so you can't manipulate them or change the numbers. However, you can edit them by exporting them into Excel. And the way to do that is by clicking on the KPI that you want. And you can see it's been selected because it's grayed out. Then you right-click, go to copy, copy selection. And then if you open up Excel, right-click and go to paste, that'll export the numbers that you've selected. And then from here, you can format it the way you want and edit it the way you see fit. And you can also choose more than one KPI as well by clicking on the first KPI that you want. So it's grayed out. Then if you press down on the Shift key on your keyboard and the downward arrow, that'll select other KPIs as well. And you can see what's been selected because they're grayed out as well. And then you do repeat the same steps. So you right-click, go to copy, copy selection, and then open up Excel again, right-click, paste, and that'll bring up the multiple KPIs that you've selected. And then you can edit it as you see fit. Okay, so now I'll just pass it over to my colleague, Fahmida.
Great, thank you, Rumana. So I'm going to be going through the NHSC SMI dashboard. So the first page of this dashboard is a visual overview of the SMI activity within NEL. At the top of the page, you have the date. So this tells you when the last update was. And over here, you have the filters of the dashboard. So you can filter by borough, PCN, and practice. And over here, you have a donut chart, which shows you the performance within the 6 physical health checks completed. And this figure looks at the performance within the target figure of 70%. And over here, you also have the eligible population and the target shortfall as well. So on the right, you have a table which shows you the KPIs within the dashboard, and this is looking at physical indicators, and you can also see the performance and the activity within these as well. Below that, you have the SMI figures for the cancer screening population, and you can see the SMI registers as well. On the left, you have a bar chart which shows you the performance within the SMI interventions and the activity within that as well. So to go back to the filters of this dashboard, if you click on the drop down here, you can see the list of the localities, and to drop down even further, you can see the PCNs, and then to select a specific practice, if you click on the drop down again, you'll see all of the practices and the PCNs. If you click on the deselect button and you select a specific practice or PCN, this will populate the dashboard, and this will also apply to the whole dashboard. So, and then to deselect or clear filters, you click on this button and that will reset to the all of now. So this dashboard has navigation at the bottom of the page. So if you click on the arrow, this will go to the next page, but there's also a quite cool trick, and you can click on this and you can see all the pages within the dashboard, and you can click on this as well if you want to go to a specific page. So the next page of the dashboard is a table page. So this looks at the KPIs alongside the borough PCN and practice. And the table page is broken down into two tables looking at physical indicators and interventions. And on this page, you can also apply the filters by borough PCN and practice, or you can click through the table itself and expand, and also look through the data here as well. So if you want to copy and paste, as Rumana showed in the previous demo, you can select the field here and right-click, copy, and copy selection. So this will copy all of the PCN level data. And if you want to copy practice level data, you would have to select your specific practice. So just to show you what this would look like on Excel. So this is the SMI data from the table page, and this will look at the KPIs as single rows. So just be aware of that. Extracting. And when you go back to the table, when you go back to the page, sorry, this might throw you off a little bit. So just click on the field that you've already selected, and it will revert back to the original view. So on to the final page. So the final page is a trends page, and this looks at the performance of the SMI activity within the financial year, with the target line at the top. And the graph below looks at the performance by the latest quarter, and this is looking at locality level performance. On this page, you can also filter by KPIs. So if you want to see specific KPIs and the target, you can see, and you can also filter by PCN, borough, and practice as well. And that's all from the SMI dashboard. So I'll be passing it back to Rumana, the next demo.
Okay, so this is the care home dashboard, and it's divided into 4 sections. We've got the about page, KPI indicators, quality improvement, and MDT meeting. So the about page is the front cover, and it just has details about the dashboard. The inclusion refers to the patients that are involved in the service, the source where we get our data from, the purpose of the dashboard, and who the dashboard is intended for. And on the right-hand side is a list of metrics that we're looking at. So for the next 3 sections, they're pretty much the same layout. And they're all further subdivided into 2 pages, an overview page and a table page. So the overview page is showing the data in some visuals. We've got a horseshoe chart, which shows how much activity has been done and how much has been left to do. We've got a timeline trend, so a performance over time, and also a comparison chart that shows the performance of all the different boroughs, and then also what the target is and what's remaining. And like the other dashboards, there's also some filters on the left-hand side, so you can choose a particular borough, PCN or practice just to further isolate the data you want to see. And you can clear these filters by clicking on this little funnel shape with the cross at the bottom here. And there's an additional filter on these pages, which is a KPI filter. And if you click on that, you can see all the different KPIs. So you can just choose another KPI and the visuals will automatically populate to show it. So we also, for each of these pages, have a data table. And this is essentially just a large data table with all the KPIs at the top with the percentages and then the localities on the left-hand side. Oh, sorry, yeah, the left-hand side. And these pages will always be set at a locality level, but you can further expand these if you want to see the data at a PCN or at a practice level. And you can do this by choosing the locality you want to expand, and next to each locality is a little plus sign. So you just click on that and that'll expand out the locality to a PCN level. And then if you want to further expand and look at the practices, you can just choose which PCN you want, click on the little plus sign, and then it'll show you all the data for the practices within that PCN. You can also expand the entire table by clicking at the top and right-hand clicking. Oops. So right-click, go to expand all, and that'll open up the entire data table. And then you can use the filters on the left-hand side to choose whichever borough, PCN, or practice that you want. When you are clicking on this table, you'll also notice these little signs at the top right here. And these can also be used to drill down, to expand or drill up. So at the moment, when we're at a locality level, you can click on these two downward arrow signs, which will drill down. So if you click on that, now it'll show you the data at a sub-locality level, which is the PCN level. And if you click and drill down again, it'll show you the data at a practice level. And to reverse that, you can just click on that drill up sign, which is the upward arrow sign, and that'll take you back up to PCN and then to locality. So with the other dashboards, it's the same here where you can't edit the numbers here, but like the other ones, you can export it into Excel. So in order to do that, you just expand the table and then you choose whichever borough, PCN or practice you want. So for example, if we choose barking, so okay. Oh. Okay, so it's being a bit slow. So we can just do it from here as well, which is you just select on barking and then the entire borough has been selected. Right click, copy selection. And then you open up Excel, go into a new tab, then you right click and paste, and then This way you can export all of that marking data into Excel, where you can then edit the data as you see fit. And you can see here it's got the practices and then the KPI activity for each of the practices. Okay, so yeah, that's it for the care homes dashboard. I'll just pass you on to Fahmida.
So the final dashboard I'm going to be presenting is the cancer screening dashboard. And I'm going to keep it quite short because it's quite similar to the previous dashboard as well. So the first page of the dashboard is an information page which tells you the eligibility criteria for the free cancer screening programs. So cervical cancer, bowel cancer, and breast screening. And at the top of the page, you have the latest date. And below that, you have the 10 pages of the dashboard. So the cancer dashboard focuses on the total population, and then it's broken down into 3 cohorts, so learning disabilities, SMI, and homeless people. And there's also a trends page at the end. At the bottom of this page, you have our contact details as well. So if you have any questions or queries about the data or the dashboard, you can contact your local facilitator, or you can contact our shared inbox. And this applies to all of our dashboards as well. So on to the next page. The total population page is a visual overview of all the cancer screening program within now. So over here you have the date filter, so you can look through previous months, and this will have a filter for the financial year, so you can see the data within the year. And over here you have the borough PCN and practice level filters as well. And this is showing you the performance within the screening coverage. So each KPI has a separate target. So we've put a link here so you can see the most up-to-date figures for the KPI reports and the targets within these. And here you have the figures for the eligible population and the remaining screened population as well, or unscreened population. So next page. So the next page is a table page, like all of our other dashboards that we've shown. So the layout is the same, is a total overview page, and then a breakdown of all the KPIs. And on this page, you can also filter by date and borough, PCN, and practice. So I'll just show you an example of what it looks like when you filter through, and then you can copy and paste as well. So if you want to select any of the fields and deselect, so if you want to deselect any of the fields, there's an eraser button at the top here, and then to clear all filters, you click on this. But just be aware that on this dashboard, the date will reset as well. So just make sure that you've reselected the date, otherwise you will get very big figures. And I will show you how to copy and paste any of the data as well from this dashboard. So if you click on the field that you want, and then right click, copy, and copy selection. So this dashboard is actually quite nice because it looks at the KPIs along the top. So it's quite useful, and you don't have to like flick through loads of KPIs. So yeah. So the rest of the dashboard is in a similar layout. It will just be a table page and an overview page, so I won't go through it in more detail. The trends page at the end is an overview of the performance within the cancer screening program within the financial year. So on this page, you can't select any of the dates because it is set to look at the whole year. And you can filter through borough, PCN, and practice on this page. And it's quite nice because if you hover over the graph, you can get a quick overview of the KPIs, the month, and the percentages as well. And within this as well, we also have the graphs for the learning disabilities. and the SMI and homeless people. And that's all from me. So I'm going to pass it back over to Pritt for any questions.
Thank you both. You may remember when we sent the form out for you to register for the webinar, we did have a space asking if there was any questions, and we had two, as you can see. The first question was from early use, what key data is standardised for now? And that's for your long-term conditions, etc. And can it be exported with F codes for other work or use? But I can say that all our data is standardised for now across all of the LTCs. With the Power BI dashboards, we don't actually have the F codes, but we do for Excel. So those can be exported with F codes. But just to remind you that the use of the Power BI dashboards is the primary purpose is not to then have that copied and pasted back into Excel. Although it's a function that will work, it's not exactly what we're looking to do with Power BI. If you need to do that, then you may need to do some further manipulation to get it to look how you want it to look. And the next question is pretty much the same. Can the Power BI dashboards be saved, downloaded? You won't need to download them. They're web-based. You could probably save a local copy. And again, you've seen, we've demonstrated, you can transfer them to Excel. But again, you may need to do some further manipulation. Okay, so this concludes our presentation, but we do have time for some questions. I know one of our colleagues was fielding the chat, so Shazia, if you wanted to unmute your mic, if there were any questions that came up.
Thanks, Pritt. We had just one question in the chat from Ansley, and the question was, will all CEG dashboards be Power BI or only specific dashboards? Okay, and Keith, I don't know if you want to come in on this one. Yep.
Yeah, going forward, we'll be building most of our new, if not all of our new dashboards in Power BI.
You can have a look.
But there might be, we're not necessarily going to try and go back retrospectively and turn all 100 plus dashboards into.
Let's see what the chat says.
Hold
So
on,
will all CEG dashboards be Power BI or only specific dashboards?
Sorry, Pritt, I think Keith was.
I think I was in the middle of answering that one, Pritt.
The industry seems to be moving away from Excel-based dashboards. So I think CEG are actually looking to change them.
So
we're on mute, that's why. But, you know,
do you want me to answer that question?
Go on, Keith, we can hear you. I'm just going to pop and see if they're having any technical difficulties.
Okay.
Sorry, can you hear us now?
Hold on a second. I think Shazir's running into the next room.
Okay, thank you.
So to come back to the question, going forward, the intention would be to build all the new dashboards in Power BI because of the reasons that were outlined at the beginning of the presentation, or the advantages of Power BI over our Excel dashboards. However, retrospectively, there's a legacy of over 100 plus dashboards, and that will be difficult to transfer them all into Power BI in any time soon. But what we might do is selectively look at them and think which ones would be best candidates for transference. And it would be good to get feedback, particularly from the users of the dashboards, on what they would find to be most beneficial out of the dashboards if they were converted into Power BI. I mean, from a practice or network point of view, the key advantage is you can access the dashboards directly from your templates. So if you did want to check how you're doing on the IIF or care homes quickly, you don't have to come out and look at an Excel dashboard. And the other thing is, don't forget, with the Power BI dashboards as well, because they are web-based, once you've got the hyperlink, you will always have the latest version of the dashboard, whereas with the Excel ones, when you download them, it won't be the latest version unless you've gone in and downloaded the latest version. Is that okay, Ansley? And anyone else on that question about transference over to Power BI dashboards?
Yes, that's perfect, Keith. Yes, thank you.
Okay, Pritt, I'm not sure if you can still see the chat, but there was one more question. From Aisha Karim. Is there a dashboard for the NHS health checks?
Yes, there is a dashboard, but that's more locality specific. So it's when you go to the dashboard page, you need to filter to your locality and then all the relevant dashboards for your locality will be there. And that includes the NHS Health Check.
Thank you. So Aisha, does that answer your question? Yeah,
Brilliant.
perfect. Okay, does anybody else have any more questions? Otherwise, there's nothing more in the chat.
So if there's any questions, please feel free to unmute your mic and relay your question. Otherwise, you can put it in the chat if you prefer. I just want to point out this while we're waiting. There's a QR code on screen. If you want to put your phones to it, that will take you to the CEG CEG website. But as promised, this is the slide showing you all your local facilitators.
Yeah, Claire, sorry, Claire Lister has her hand up as well. Claire, if you want to hop on
Hello,
mic.
thanks, Shaz. Sorry, I can't type quickly enough. I'm too old. Really impressed with these dashboards. You know, they're very clever and very good. Obviously, when there's certain localities of different contracts or different KPIs, such as we all do health checks, but we all have different things to monitor, then I you know, we can't have the borough, the NEL-wide dashboards or BI dashboards for those. But and it's good they're available via EMIS. How would federations and the Confederation access them? Is it via your normal dashboards link?
So we have a dashboard link, but it's hidden from the CEG. It's hidden in the background of the CEG website. So if you contact any of us, we should be able to get that information to you.
Okay, cool.
You'll already have it, Claire, because you're already accessing their Hackney dashboards, I assume. It's the same link for all of the whole of NEL. It's not like a different link.
I should go and check. Thanks.
You just need to go. Once you're in, you can go to the NEL page as well if you want to look at any of the NEL stuff, or if you wanted to see how Tower Hamlets are doing, or Newham or Walton Boroughs, you know, just to keep an eye on what the rest of the you know, the other practices and networks and federations are up to. You can go and pop into any of them, really.
Oh, don't tempt me. Okay. And will there be further training for practices who aren't familiar with navigating these BI dashboards as they come more specific for contracts?
Well, as a facilitator, I'll be more than happy to show anybody when we are out doing practice visits. It's part of our remit to show them how to access the dashboards and how to make the best use of them. So yeah, that's ongoing.
All right, thank you.
And the other people who might want to access the dashboards, who again we'll offer training for, are network managers, because in a way the dashboards are probably more useful to a network manager, giving them a network overview, than they are to a practice who can, you know, access the searches direct in real time from EMIS.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. There is one more question in the chat from Padma Shiny. When will the SMR dashboard be updated with the fifth one, SMR01E? I assume you mean the IIF dashboard, the PCN DES dashboard. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okie dokie. Does anybody have any idea on the timescale for that one? Okay. So the specific.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pritt, did you want to answer?
No, I was just going to say it might be something we need to find out and come back to you with. We can do that when we send out the frequently asked questions and the slide deck.
Okay, great. Because as on the email, there are 5 of them, and on the dashboard is only 4. So 5th one is missing, actually. Thank you.
Definitely something to look into then.
Yes, thank you. Got a couple of minutes for any last questions if there are any, otherwise we can let you go. Oh, there's one more there. Oh, the NHS Health Check dashboard. So when you go into the landing page of the dashboards, that will show you all the generic ones for
Pritt, I'm
now.
just thinking, if you've got a couple of minutes, why don't you actually, can someone just demonstrate going into the page maybe?
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Because I think a lot of the questions will be answered in one fell swoop by just, you know, logging in and showing the layout.
Okay, so if everyone can see my screen, I've just opened up a Microsoft Edge page. I've got my dashboards bookmarked because, as I say, you cannot get them from the CEG website. and I've already signed in. That's why it's not come up with the login page. So this is the landing page. It's the CEG dashboard hub, and you see all these tiles here. These relate to your various boroughs. The landing page will have all the NEL-wide dashboards, and these are some of the ones we've shown you. It will tell you if they're Power BI or Excel. And if you go through those, then you've got some COVID-19 dashboards at the bottom. But if you go back to the tile showing your boroughs, I'm just going to select my borough, Waltham Forest. And here you have a range of dashboards. So again, it's whatever you're interested in, you would just click through to that. And if it's an Excel-based dashboard, it will prompt you, do you want to download this? And then you can download it. If it's a Power BI one, it will be web-based anyway. But as you can see, these are all Excel. So the NHS Health Check one is there. And then you've got various other ones. And then you've got the SMI Physical Health Checks dashboards. So there's a lot of data available if you have the time and if you need to look at it. Is that clearer? Oh, yeah, we got it perfect. Thank you very much. Okay. I'm going to just put it back to the facilitation screen, just in case anybody hasn't had a chance to look at that yet. If there's no further questions, then I'd just like to thank you all for attending today. And this is not the webinar will be, the recorded webinar, I should say, will be on our website. We will follow up with the slide deck and the frequently asked questions information sheet. But, you know, we're here. So if there's any other questions you have that you can't think of yet, just contact your facilitator and we'll be more than happy to, you know, get back to you. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nimra, if you can still hear me, I think what we'll do is we will ask your locality facilitator to pick that up with you.
No problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Pritt, are you still recording?